Hey everyone, this is John from EastCoastArmory.com, and here we have part 3, or the final chapter, of the Torro 1/16 scale radio-controlled Jagdtiger rebuild video. Now, in the last two videos that came before this, I described the starter kit as well as the condition that the model was in, and in part 2 of the series, I went ahead and described all of the detailing work that went into the model. If you haven't seen those two sections of this video yet, I strongly recommend stopping this video and watching those two, as it's best to watch them in chronological order for the best viewing experience. In this video here, the model, of course, is fully completed, and we're going to be taking it on a test run. Now, in the background, you can see my second Torro Jagdtiger. That model started off in a very similar condition to the model that I built for this video series here. The first Jagdtiger that I did is a subject matter for a whole other video set and can be found, of course, on the ECA channel. Now, for a quick recap, this model here is a 1/16 scale radio-controlled Jagdtiger model. This model here was acquired in a damaged condition from the scratch and dent section on the takentanks.com website. The model was rebuilt and repaired to the condition that you see it in this video series. Now, under the hood, the model is left totally stock with the stock electronics. This would include the airsoft firing capability, the elevation, the smoke system, as well as the proportional drive 2.4 gigahertz RC setup. Now, for the main drive, the model uses the stock Taken gearbox, which is actually very nicely engineered, as it is a steel ball bearing gearbox and is something that I recommend for other people to add to their builds as well. Now, like I said in the last video, the model's electronics and switches are accessed through this engine hatch that we have here. If I open up the hatch, this exposes the control panel underneath. And here's the control panel now visible with the engine hatch open. Here we have the main power switch, the smoke system cutoff, and the volume control. This plug here is an addition that I made, and that's the recharge jack, where I can actually recharge the model's battery without the need of having to remove the upper hull. In order to remove the upper hull, however, this is done with this large plastic section here. If I pull this in, it's actually a giant latch that allows the entire upper hull to disengage from the lower. Just like I said in the other video, the smoke system has also been modified to be remotely refueled, and that is with this black tube that I have here. If I can pull it out, I could take the smoke fluid and inject it directly into the smoke system without having to get access by removing the upper hull again. Now, because this model does have the airsoft firing capability, that is accessed via the main commander's hatch that we have here on the top portion of the fighting compartment. And you can see that the unit is already loaded up with some BBs. Here's again, the power switch. It is well marked, but one feature that I like to do on all my builds is with a little swipe of red paint, I mark the section on the switch that indicates when the switch is in the on position. That was done on the lower section as well. Now, for this model, since I am outdoors, I will activate the smoke system. Now I'm going to turn the model on momentarily. Before I turn on the tank, let me first turn on the tank's radio. Now, this is the kit supplied radio. It's a 2.4 gigahertz setup, and if anyone has seen any of the other Taken or Torro builds out there on YouTube or even my other videos, this setup should look very familiar. Now, when it comes to turning the tank on, of course, the radio gets powered on, and then I will turn on the vehicle. When the power is turned on, the cooling fan that's mounted on top of the CPU will activate, and you can hear it notifying you that the model is indeed powered on. Close up the hatch. Now, to fire up the model, that's what this little switch is here. I painted it red to know which one is the engine fire up. Now, once fired up, the smoke system is going to start puffing away. It might be difficult to see with this lighting and with the little breeze that I have, but there are some puffs of smoke emitting from the exhaust manifold. Now, when it comes time for the radio, this stick here is purely devoted to drive. This stick here on a turreted vehicle would control the turret functions, but on the casemate design, it's slightly modified. Down will raise and elevate the gun, just like with most of these RTR models. The elevation system is hooked up on a wheel type track, and the gun will just automatically depress once it hits a certain point in its elevation. Now, on most tanks, left and right here would rotate the turret. Of course, this being a casemate design, that's not going to be the case. Now, what is interesting is that on the real Jagdtiger, the gun did have some limited transversing capabilities, but on the Torro model here, that's not included, and it's just a dead channel. There's still sound that emits from the model, but it does absolutely nothing. So for Jagdtiger running, you just ignore the left and right function altogether. Now, up will fire the airsoft BB. And just like with all these other RTR models, if the model is standing still and the airsoft firing system is actuated, the model does have some recoil that is animated into it. It does have a little bit of a flop, as you can see after the recoil, but you know, it's what you're going to get with these RTR models in performance-wise. On the front portion, you do have a LED mounted in the headlight, which can probably be seen here. And the machine gun firing function is also one that is included with this model. On the radio, that's this little toggle that we have here on the right-hand side. And that's basically it. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and take the model for a test run. Now, because of the model's die-cast metal parts, the model does have some decent weight to it, which, combined with the gearing on the gearbox, should slow the model down to a nice scale speed and will also help the model transverse over rougher terrain. Now, the model does have a proportional drive steering. If I give just a little bit of throttle, you'll notice that the vehicle does move. However, the sound system is a little bit on the cruder end, and in order for the sound system to actuate when you're actually running it, you do need to go at speeds a little bit faster than the ones I just displayed here. Now, because of the basic sound system, a lot of individuals who want to level their models up replace the stock electronics with the aftermarket units. The aftermarket units are more sophisticated and allow you to have better throttle control with the radio compared to these RTR counterparts. For the type of running, however, that I use my builds for, the stock electronics are perfectly suffice. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and take it for a test run. Well, as you can see, the model performed very well on both on and my usual off-road conditions. Now, some of the terrain I was driving it on is actually very difficult on 1/16s, but the model was able to perform and muscle through regardless. Overall, I'm really happy on how the build turned out. These Tegan Jagdtigers do build into a very nice representable piece once fully polished and fitted out. And to build upon that, because this model was a scratch and dent repair job, since the damage was pretty severe on the start of the video, it always feels fantastic to get a model saved from that type of condition. Just like I said with the last 1/16 scale RC Jagdtiger build that I did a little while ago, this model here is a fantastic addition to add to anyone's 1/16 scale RC tank collection. Because of the subject matter, easily any fan of World War II German tanks will greatly appreciate this kit, but specifically for the people who have the Tamiya King Tiger kits that have been out for several decades at this point, as well as even the Henlong and Tegan renditions, this model here is not only recommended, but it's basically a no-brainer to add to your collection, as for obvious reasons, it will fit in perfectly. The engineering that went into developing this kit is definitely noticed. Their detailing is also pretty good, and their running is equally as reliable. The model does feature, of course, metal running gear, which is an excellent choice and is very durable for radio-controlled running. Now, this is not the only 1/16 scale Jagdtiger on the market. There is another rendition of this exact same vehicle that is offered by Trumpeter. The Trumpeter model is a very nicely done model, however, it is built to be a static representation of the Jagdtiger. That model, in lieu of the RC capabilities, has a full interior detailing, which again is something that is nicely done. However, I do want to stress out that I've seen a lot of individuals on radio-controlled forums, for whatever reason, decide to use that model as a base to RC convert. In my opinion, that is definitely not a good option, because you have to take something which was designed from the get-go to be static in order to bring it up to radio-control specs. This is not, of course, impossible, because all the aftermarket components are on the market that are metal to add to that build to make it RC, but at the end of the day, you're basically using the exact same metal components that come stock with this kit. In addition to that, the performance is basically going to equal this model that we have here. So to try to bring that model up to this model specs, it's really kind of a fool's errand. It's definitely something I would really hesitate against doing. Now, one side effect that the Trumpeter kit does offer is that because the model is in 1/16 scale and is quite popular, there are a lot of aftermarket photo etch components which are used to super detail the Trumpeter model. Well, because the Torro unit is also 1/16 scale, many of the accessories and detail frets that are designed for the Trumpeter can be utilized on this tank as well, further enhancing it from what Torro supplies you with. Now, although these detail sets are very nicely done, they are not really necessary in order to fully outfit one of these Jagdtigers. In fact, the build that you see here recycled the majority of the stock detail parts that came with the set. However, if anyone wants to move beyond what the stock Torro kit offers, these detail sets definitely are something to look into. I also recommend the RTR version of the Jagdtiger kit to anyone who's a casual RC tank fan. The model is, out of the box, painted a little bit nicer compared to the other ready-to-run renditions from, say, companies like Henlong. Now, although the model is on the more pricier end at around $500 or $600 compared to the other renditions, it is money well spent, specifically for someone who doesn't really want to fiddle with anything, and they just want something that looks nice and representable out of the box that also runs very well. Now, another advantage that the Jagdtiger has is that because of its relative simplicity, getting access to and maintenance to the gearbox and electronics is very easily done. Unlike something, say, like an early production Tiger 1 with the Fifel system, getting access into one of those models is a bit on the problematic end. For something like this here, getting access is extremely simple, like I showcased in an earlier video. Furthermore, the Jagdtiger is just a really cool vehicle. If you ever get a chance to see one in person, these things are massive in size. If you're on the fence on whether or not you want to get one or not, honestly, take the plunge. You won't regret it. And with that, that wraps up this 3-part model showcase video for this 1/16 scale radio-controlled German Jagdtiger. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to this channel, where you can get updates on new model showcase videos like this guy here, as well as project update videos when they get posted. Another way to keep in the loop of new posted content is by liking us on Facebook. There I have more pics of this particular build, as well as the other smaller and larger scale builds that have been posted on the channel in the past. Furthermore, don't forget to swing by eastcoastarmory.com, where there are more 1/6 and 1/16 scale builds and detail components. Thanks for watching.